Hello people, today I'd like to discuss video games and my relationship with them. As some of you know, or almost all of you know by this point, I'm really picky what comes to video games, and I've been wondering for these past 10 years if I'm really a gamer or not, and I've come to the conclusion that maybe I'm really not. If I'm getting a video game, I already have to know something about it. I can't just dive in. Like I remember in the early 90s, I went to the video store. The only thing you had was the back of the box, and you were looking at the little small screenshots from the game that were printed on the box, and you were just checking them out at the store, and that was pretty much all you could find out about the game, and you just picked the best looking game with the best art, and sometimes you got fucked by that, because really the art didn't tell you anything about the game, and the screenshots were so small it was hard to tell if a game was good or not. And we didn't have Nintendo Power here in Finland. We had another magazine, I believe, but I didn't subscribe to it, or my parents didn't subscribe to that one. I just went with it and bought random games, and for the most part I don't think I bought any bad games. I guess I just got lucky. One game I did buy, of course when I say I did buy, my parents bought them of course, but one of the games that I got was Bart vs. the World, and I didn't think it was a bad game. I found it pretty fun. I never really understood personally what the problem was with people and Bart vs. the World. Bart vs. the Space Mutants was a bit strange, but I ended up liking that as well. I just never got past the first level when I was a kid. But Bart vs. the World was actually... I found the game actually pretty good, and I still think it's not bad. It's just different. And what comes to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I know people probably thought I was joking when I said the game is kinda good. And I really wasn't. There's something in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde that kinda sucks you in. I don't believe the general gamer was ready for a game like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in the 90s. The game was so different, and it didn't play like anything else. So I think it really takes a specific kind of person to understand what that game is about. And I guess I'm just one of those people. It has flaws, yes, it's not perfect. There's some annoying bugs and annoying features, like the guy who drops the bombs on the ground. You have to jump in the correct way to even dodge that bomb. But there is something about that game that just makes me go back for it, makes me want more. And I think the reason is that Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is different. We haven't really seen a game like that after it was released, and we really didn't see a game like that before it was released. It was something completely different. And I don't understand the general criticism that was given for the game. People who criticize the game just watch the AVGN episode and just conclude that it's bad. They didn't actually play the game. Now, I always thought the game was bad as well, because I watched the AVGN review and I was like, okay, that looks like complete shit. But you have to remember, it is showcased in a specific light. And it's showcased by someone who doesn't know how the fuck to play the game. When I started playing Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde about a month ago, I literally understood what was going on in 5 minutes. That's what it took. 5 minutes to understand what the fuck's going on. There are some things that I didn't completely understand, but as I started to play through the game, I began to understand all of the different aspects of the game and how they play together. I'm not going to waste your time by talking about Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde on this specific video here, but I'll tell you that the main idea is that you're supposed, for the good ending, you're supposed to get to the wedding as Hyde before Jekyll. And they have completely different runs. They are going at the same time, and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde have their own stages pretty much. But at no point can Hyde reach the same spot as Jekyll. So pretty much, it's a strategy game. It's different. I just can't explain what makes it semi-good in my eyes. And what I've seen a lot is people tend to laugh when they hear me saying that Cuphead is bad. Yet this motherfucker likes Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Alright, so here's the deal. I've played Cuphead during my lifetime 500 times. Yet I never owned Cuphead itself. And yet, did I ever play it? The game has been released a million times before. We've already seen that. And as I see Cuphead as a flash game. You move about, you keep shooting, you hold down the button, I presume, and you dodge shit. That's Cuphead. You die over and over and over and learn how some of the patterns work. Sure, there's some telegraphs on the mini-bosses, but for the most part, you'll just learn by dying. If you strip... Like, I can't deny the graphics are fucking awesome. The graphics are nice. For someone who grew up with those kind of cartoons, not the black and white ones, but Disney cartoons that were a bit similar in the early 90s as well, because they were still rerunning those. I can't deny the graphics are fucking lovely. I like those graphics, but if we strip all of that, it's basically just a block avoiding other blocks, shooting blocks at blocks. So you have to see the game under its hood. Well, you could say, well, isn't any game like that then? Mega Man is just a block who shoots blocks at other blocks. But Mega Man is a lot more deeper than that. Mega Man has aspects about it that intrigue me, whereas Cuphead is a continuous strain of my attention. Cuphead tries to hook me with its mentality of, bitch, you can't beat me. And I've seen that before. I've seen that before on video games, and I've done that before. I don't have to do it again. Now, I've watched about an hour of footage of Cuphead, and it still doesn't make me want to play it. It's mediocre at best. The graphics are lovely, the game is just not. It's just there. I don't know what it is about Cuphead, but I just don't get it. Like, it's another Flash game. I could be playing that game on my browser without all of the fancy graphics. It would be the exact same game. But just because it happens to have that old style people got suckered in, maybe some people like it. I'm not gonna say that people shouldn't like it, but I just don't see the appeal myself. What comes to most video games, let's not go that deep into certain games here, but just to get an understanding of what I like, I guess. I'm trying to paint a picture, but for most video games, I tend to look at games for about 5 to 15 minutes and conclude that it's not for me. And that's most games. That's like 98% of all video games that ever existed. I just look at them for a few minutes and decide that I'm not gonna waste my time on it. So I do some background checks on video games, and maybe I'll buy them. And if in 15 minutes it has not given me a single reason to like it, I'll just give up. I'll uninstall the game. I'll get a refund. If a game doesn't hook me in less than 15 minutes, it's not worth my time. I'm counting my minutes. I'm constantly thinking about what else I could be doing with my life currently. Let's say I'll buy Destiny 2. I didn't even know what that game was before I played it at my cousin's place. I just ran around for 10 minutes and called it. I don't understand. I don't get it. And then there's games like Team Fortress 2 or Borderlands. There's games like, what's the new one called? I can't remember. Weird and Dota game that they made into a 3D game that kind of looks like Borderlands. I can't recall, but games like that, I think I would be playing if I was, I don't know, fucking 15, around that era. Because I played a lot of Counter-Strike when I was a kid, and that was one of the games I put many hours into. And I can see myself playing those kind of games if I was still younger. But as you get older, most video games seem to lose their meaning to you. And most video games, they make you feel like you're wasting your time and you could be doing something better with your life. Games like the new Need for Speed, who gives a fuck? I mean, really. Need for Speed was a thing when I had PlayStation and PlayStation 2. Need for Speed was still a thing on PC. I believe Porsche Challenge was still a pretty good game, but after that, pretty much downhill. So I like games that teach me something. I like games that challenge my mind and games that challenge my intellect. I actually did play games like Devil May Cry when I was a kid. But let's be honest, you're just tapping fucking buttons over and over and over again. It gets boring after 10 minutes for me. You're just mashing buttons. Well, then you could say, well, there's all kinds of combos and you could learn this and that and it's much deeper than you think. Yeah, sure. I just don't give a rat's ass. Who cares, combos? I don't feel like learning combos just to play the game. Now, then again, I like Tekken. Learning combos in Tekken is kind of fun, because it's rewarding, but then again, I haven't played Tekken in, 15 years? We were discussing this in our Discord, which is in the description if you wanna join and chat with us, but people tend to have the assumption that the game has to be fast-paced. The game has to have this Michael Bay production quality of explosions and radical sound effects, and the game has to hook me in that way with non-stop action. No, that is not what I'm after. No, you've completely misunderstood my point. I actually enjoyed watching Northern Lion play through Until Dawn. And for those who know, it's a quick time event game, like completely quick time events. But what suckered me into watching that was the story. It was so fucking dumb. It was good. I enjoyed that. I was always waiting for the next part and how shit's gonna turn up. So it's not that the game needs to have this sort of non-stop action. That's not what I mean. The game has to have a single reason for me to keep playing. That's good enough. Then I'll play more than 15 minutes of it. So if I actually owned a console that ran Until Dawn, I would have probably played the shit out of that one. I would have finished it, because it was intriguing. I don't usually like quick time event games, but that game was more like a movie. It was enjoyable in that sense, and I was thinking that maybe I'm getting old, because I really didn't enjoy quick time event games when I was a kid. That was way over me. I was always like, you have to have action for me to enjoy the game. But no, I can enjoy games like Civilization, I can enjoy games like RimWorld, where it's very slow paced at times and you have to make decisions, and those decisions then reflect how things are gonna go in the next couple of hours. Slow-paced games I do enjoy. I'm a fan of slow-paced games and games that make me think and, as I said, challenge my intellect. And I want to feel like the decisions I make affect the gameplay somehow. So even if a game is slow, even if a game has long cutscenes, I'm still gonna keep playing if the game actually gives me any reason to do so. But most games, I'll just quit in 15 minutes if it doesn't give me any reason to keep playing. So let's take Metal Gear Solid as another example. Never played any of the games except for one. I think that was on PS2. When the first cutscene, I think, exceeded like 10 minutes, I gave up. I rented that game and I just didn't give a shit about the story. I didn't feel like I cared. I don't think the delivery on Metal Gear is sufficient enough for me. I just don't give a rat's fucking ass. So what? It's not for me. 10 minutes for a cutscene that I don't give a shit is too much. Truth to be told, if I wasn't doing Nico evaluates, probably 80% of these games I would have already quit on the first stage, and let alone when I have to work to get the game to work, meaning that I have to install Joy the Key and bind buttons to actually play your fucking game. I would not do that if I wasn't doing this evaluation series. I would not do that. So whenever you make me work to get your game to even boot up and to use my controller on a Mega Man game, well, fuck off. I can't. Like, I don't have time to deal with that. It's not worth it to me. It really isn't worth it. When I had all of the time, when I was like 15, 20 years old, I had all of the time. I could have easily probably done this, boot up Joy the Key and mess around with the controls, no problem. But now, no, that's not gonna happen. That's really not gonna happen. So then, you might wonder, well, what kind of games do you enjoy then? If most of the video games, like you said, 99% of games you just quit in the first 10 minutes. And let's be honest, I don't even get most games. I probably buy one game in the span of 2 years. That's probably accurate. Maybe 2, maybe 1 per year. So that's an indication of how many games I buy. You might then wonder, well, what kind of games have you played that you actually enjoyed? Hitman Blood Money, Midnight Club 2. And I'm trying to list games that are not on the NES because the NES has a really fun library to me. All the Mega Man games and Marios and whatnot, they're fine. But I'm trying to think of recent releases or after 2000s. Spelunky, that was an excellent game, one of my favorites. Binding of Isaac, both of those games were fucking fantastic. I still play them. Rocket League, exceptionally good game for me, because you can just play it for 5 minutes and stop. You can come back to it, play another 5 minutes and stop. That works for me fantastically. And like I said, Until Dawn, that was pretty good. I do enjoy GTA games. San Andreas was fucking great. But games like Skyrim and it's kind of like okay. Fallout New Vegas, one of my absolute favorites. Then we have games like Command and Conquer, Red Alert games. We have the Generals games. We have Age of Empires 2. Games like Condemned, Criminal Origins, one of my favorite horror games of all time. DOS games I'm not gonna list because there's so many which I liked. But Duke Nukem 3D, of course. Doom. Enjoyed those. Max Payne games. RimWorld as a recent example. I really like that one. I mean, there's Rogue Legacy. Worms Armageddon was a big one for me back in the day. Psychonauts. Far Cry 3. One of my all-time favorite shooting games. So we have stuff like that which I'm into and I have been into. They are all pretty much vastly different from each other, and I've enjoyed all of those immensely. But then there's games like the AAA games. I couldn't give a shit. We have Call of Duty. I don't even know what you have. I don't pay attention to AAA games. I watch 10 seconds of footage of those games and I can already see that I don't give a flying fuck. Like, it's so generalized. Like, they don't make good AAA games anymore. They just really don't. And I remember multiplayer shooters. Unreal Tournament was a pretty good one back in my younger years. Unreal Tournament was pretty good. But if I had to play a game like Unreal Tournament today, I'd just rather probably work. Like, I'd rather work for money instead of fucking playing Unreal Tournament. It's not worth it because it doesn't give me any enjoyment. You're just running around aimlessly, holding down your shoot button, and maybe somebody steps in your crosshair. It's just not for me, and mindless games like that just aren't for me. And well, you could say Binding of Isaac is a mindless game. You just keep doing the same thing over and over, and I don't know what it is about Isaac. It's a relaxing game for me, and I don't often play it anymore, but I used to. It was a relaxing game. I could just pop it in and not worry about a thing and just play it. And usually I enjoy games that allow me to listen to podcasts or listen to YouTube videos at the same time. So most of the time when I'm playing a game, I don't have the sound on. I'm listening to a podcast, I'm listening to fucking Joe Rogan's podcast at the same time. I'm doing something else at the same time to try and keep my mind occupied. So if I'm playing Rocket League, I don't have the sound on. I don't have the sound on Rocket League, I have something else. So I can listen to a podcast at the same time and play a game, because I think I'm getting my time worth that way. Since I'm occupying my mind at the same time, I'm not just playing a game, I'm doing something productive in my mind, which is learning from a topic or something, listening to an audiobook, something like that to keep my mind occupied, keep my sanity going. If I just play a game, even if the game has like a good audio, even if it's an immersive experience, I just need to be listening to something else. There's not many single-player games that actually hook me anymore. I remember back in the day when I was playing Fear 3. That was a weird game for me because I never got hooked into it, but I never stopped playing. There was something that kept me going, and I remember when I was about 50% through, I was like, I have to keep going because I made it this far. And the game it never changed. It was the same all the time, and I could tell when the next jump scare or whatever was gonna pop out. I fucking knew. But I still had to keep playing, and until like this day, I still regret playing through that game because it was not so great, and I still kept going. That's one of the experiences that has led me to this position where I am in right now, which I don't let a game destroy my free time. If a game doesn't hook me in, I'm gonna call it. So really, the game has to be worth my time. And I remember my friend buying, well, Shikroxen to be exact, buying me the Batman games on Steam. Never asked for it. I was grateful, of course. You're buying a game for your friend. But he wanted me to try them. And I was like, alright, let's pop in the Arkham Asylum game. Well, the first thing that I can see is that I've done this before. This game is just a reskin of every other fucking game I've ever seen. It's like Devil May Cry, but it's not good. And that's saying something. So I remember the cutscene was pretty long in the beginning. But I'm like, okay, it's a Batman game. I don't give a fuck about superheroes, by the way. I never understood the appeal about superheroes. Never read any comics, never watched any superhero movies, never watched any cartoons. Batman, Superman, who gives a fuck? So, already, I was in a bad mood because I didn't give a fuck about Batman. But after the 10-minute cutscene or whatever, I was like, alright, it has a long cutscene because it's a superhero game, of course. A long cutscene, that's normal. But then it pops you into this room and you're fighting these enemies. A wave of enemies. I'm like, okay. So I just keep hitting X. Okay, Batman's punching, alright. I'm kinda guiding him at the same time to the right direction. Mashing the button. So that wave of enemies die. But oh, there's another wave. And they just keep on coming. They keep on coming, they keep on coming. And all this time I'm doing this. Next wave. Next wave. My brain cells are fucking killing themselves over this game because the game treats me like a fucking idiot. Here's how you punch, here's how you jump or whatever. Okay. So I get through that because I'm like, okay, maybe the game will change. So my memory is not so great on this game anymore because it's been a while since I played it. But I think the next thing was the game was trying to teach you how to use the batarangs. Alright, I shoot a couple of them out. Seems kinda decent. I wouldn't call it fun. But guess what comes after that? More waves of enemies. So what do? You know, that really isn't any different from Superman 64. You fly through rings. You do a task, you fly through rings. You do a task, you fly through rings. Most people don't realize that's how I see most games. Most games to me are Superman 64. All you do is the same thing over and over and over. Nothing ever changes. Nothing ever challenges you. Nothing ever makes you think. It's just a mindless button-mashing marathon. And you know, that's fine. That's just not for me. A lot of people will come to me and say the Batman games are great. Sure. If that is your level of... If your level of enjoyment matches with the standard of the Batman games, you're gonna have fun. And I'm not saying that... I'm not discriminating you in any way. I'm not saying that, oh, you're a dumbass for liking Batman. No. You have different standards than me. And I'm not saying my standards are higher. I'm very picky. It doesn't have anything to do with one's mind and how it works. If you enjoy the Batman games, you enjoy the Batman games. If you enjoy doing this all the time, this is your idea of a fun video game, I can't deny your taste. That's just fine. It's not for me. And I also forgot one great game that I have to mention from my list, Deus Ex Human Revolution. I enjoyed that game. It was... Sure, that game is repetitious. You keep doing the same thing over and over. But it's so well executed, it's so well done, that I love the game for that. It's not mindless, you have to keep thinking, you have to keep making up strategies to advance in the game. And there's a lot you can do, there's a lot of different ways in which you can tackle certain missions, and that's one thing I like. That's why I like Hitman Blood Money, because you have so many different ways of playing the game. You can just fuck around, or you can just actually play the game, and even if you actually play the game, there's different ways to handle the missions. You can just keep coming back to it. So that's the kind of game I like. So then there's many games that try to imitate Mega Man. There's many flash game type of deals on Steam and elsewhere. None of them really intrigue me. They're just the same thing, just reskinned in a different way. For example, you might ask, well, did you enjoy Shovel Knight? And I can tell you that I liked it to an extent, but I still kept feeling like I played it before, even though I haven't. So I played through around four or six stages of the game, and I just never went back. I never played it again. It doesn't make me want to play it again. It isn't that new. It doesn't have any new ideas. It's just repetition from my childhood. It has all of the aspects that I've already seen during my lifetime in other video games. It isn't unique enough to grasp me in. It doesn't do anything that special. Like, I remember when I was a kid, good games always they made you to come back to it. Like, imagine you're playing a game in the evening and the next day you go to school or work or whatever, and all the time you're in school or work you keep thinking about this game and you keep thinking how you want to go back to playing it, and you're thinking about new strategies for the stage you're in now because you're stuck or whatever. That was my childhood. I kept thinking of those things, and I kept thinking about the good games and how I wanted to play them when I wasn't playing them. That doesn't really happen to me anymore. I don't think any game that has come out after like 2005 have hooked me in that way. Hitman Blood Money was one of those games. It came out in 2006. I can say that maybe I was a bit hooked to that game, but that was really one of the last games I ever got really hooked into. But recent games, maybe the games haven't changed. Maybe I have changed, but I don't get hooked anymore. I don't think about games all the time. Almost never. So when I have that spare time to play something, it really has to be either already familiar to me, or it's a new game that I've been watching footage of for a while and I know what to expect. So let's say Spelunky 2 is coming, but I'm not waiting for it. I'm not getting hyped, as you say today. Getting hyped about something, isn't that what the youngsters say? I'm not hyped about Spelunky 2, you know why? There was a trailer, and in the trailer there was no gameplay footage. So how the fuck do I know if it's gonna suck? Spelunky 1 was one of the greatest games I ever played, and it's simple. But under all that simplicity is a very difficult game. Now I can't form an opinion on Spelunky 2 because I haven't seen any gameplay. So I'm gonna wait until someone plays it online. I'm gonna check for 5 to 10 minutes, and then maybe I'll buy it because Spelunky 1 was so great. I would happily pay the same full price for Spelunky 2 if it has the same gameplay than the first one. So it's not just the same game. So that's one rare item that I might actually buy in here whenever it comes out. But I haven't really bought any games. Let's see. So the recent game that I bought, the latest game that I bought was probably RimWorld. Before that, I bought Rocket League, and honestly, before that, I can't tell. I have no recollection what I bought after Rocket League. It's been so many years since I bought another game. So this is how I work, apparently, when it comes to video games. I'm very picky, like I said. I value my free time. I don't like stepping into the unknown like I used to, because games today don't mean that much to me. Games today lack something that they used to have, for me at least. They are all similar to each other. It feels like I played every game that was ever published already, because they all just reflect each other. They're all the same. You keep doing the same things. Especially the AAA games, they're all just the same garbage. So take a game like Mega Man Rock Force, a fan game. It requires Joy to Key, so fuck that game, I'm not gonna play it. I played it for my YouTube series only. I'm not gonna play it if I have to work for it. That's 10-15 minutes of my time already. Setting up fucking Joy to Key, figuring out how to do it. I've already wasted my time on it. Well, you could say, what if the game is worth all that setup time? It could very well be, but it has already lost me, I don't care. I'll just go do something else that I'm familiar with, something that is not gonna waste my time. And I remember games had a lot of problems when I was a kid, especially on PC. Like you needed to fuck around with an INI file, you always needed to tamper with the config files. There's always something that didn't work. Either the white screen didn't work, the game didn't boot, and there was a black screen, a blue screen, a fucking yellow, brown screen. I don't know. You always seem to have to do something before you get the game to work. When I was a kid, that was no problem. I could usually figure it out. Just fucking Google it, right? But nowadays, if a game doesn't work, I'm just like, okay, it doesn't work. I'm not gonna bother. This can take anywhere from 1 minute to fucking 3 weeks. I'm not gonna take the gamble. I'm just gonna say fuck it, that game is not worth my time. If it doesn't work for some reason, I'm not gonna try and get it to work. It's not worth it. I'm just gonna go play something that I know. And that's when I play, which doesn't happen that often anymore. So the fact is that I don't have a problem with slowly paced games. I like some of the games that require time and understanding, strategy and such to play. And I absolutely love those when they are done right. It's not about how long-winded something is. If the game is good, I keep playing. That's just not often the case. So rarely do games today intrigue me, so rarely do they hook me in. It could be an age thing, but when I was like 15, I was like, I'm always gonna game. Like, what is gonna stop me from playing video games at like 29 or 35 or 45? But I'm beginning to understand that I value my free time a lot more. I really have to pick the stuff that I do. And people also have said that, well, then you must not like any RPG ever made. Well, I like some of them, but most of them, you are correct. It's too slowly paced for me, and I can't afford falling into that rabbit hole of RPG games that suck in all of my time. I can't afford it, so I'm just not gonna play those. The Fallout games are a good example. They are so good that I get hooked into those. But Fallout 4 was getting a bit old, I have to admit, so New Vegas is still my favorite. Fallout 4 didn't do anything new, so it's just a repetition thing for me, and I never finished Fallout 4 for that reason. It's an okay game, nothing great, but New Vegas completely suckered me in. I probably played it for 200 hours, beaten it multiple times, and it's just always fun. To me, it's also that if the only thing I'm doing in the first 10 minutes of a game is watching a cutscene for 5 minutes and tapping 2 buttons for another 5 minutes with a never-ending wave of enemies over and over, I'm done. The game is treating me like a fucking dumbass at that point. It's measuring... I feel like it's measuring my IQ and lowering it. It's treating me like a baby. I don't think a lot of people think this way when they play. Because for a lot of people, video games are an escape of reality. They want to throw everything they are thinking about right now to a wall and just play a game and not think about anything. That's why people like button mashers. But for me, that's not the reason why I play video games. I play video games because I want to teach myself. I want to experience something new and something that will challenge me. So all of those time waster games are just not for me. I don't like wasting my time. My time is valuable. I'm worth my own time. And if a game doesn't respect that, then I'm just not gonna play it. Effectively, there are gonna be 1,000 reasons why I'd quit a game under 10 minutes. It's not as simple as lining up a few generalized reasons that the game has to be valuable. Like, I've heard people say that you're cynical, they see that I don't like most video games. And it's partly true. I don't like most video games. I don't play most video games because they don't look like something that would be worth investing my time into. It really has to be a special occasion. When you have a job, when you have tons of other projects, when you have your own family, when you have your house, when you have your laundry, your dishes, your whatever the fuck it is, you're gonna respect your time a lot more. You're gonna understand why playing games is not the first thing you wanna do. And as such, you become selective of the games you want to play. I'd rather invest that 2 minutes in YouTube watching footage of a game and deciding if it's good or not. Well, you can't really decide if it's good or not in that time, but you get the idea, than actually trying the game myself. I think today games are just exactly like other games. There are exceptions in the list that I mentioned of some of the games I like. And it should give you an idea of what kind of games I like to play. I hope that that answered some of your questions. The only reason why I made this video is because people tends to be wondering what is the deal with me and my relationship with video games. So there's your answer for about 40 minutes. But hope you enjoyed it. But if you have any follow-up questions, we can continue in the comments below or come to Discord and chat with us there. I'll put that in the comments section. Have a good one.